In the period you were working for Nike or subsequently, what sort of techniques did you use to test for product market fit apart from sales?
Yeah.
Which is a big one.
Yeah.
But anything else? Were there sort of particular techniques you developed in that B2C market for testing whether something would work or not? I recall listening to an interview with you where you said basically Nike was a company that wasn't driven by metrics so much. You tended to throw it over the fence and see if it worked.
So the best one was when I actually, at Nike. Surprising. It was funny. So before I went to work at Nike, one of my clients was Procter and Gamble, which is one of the largest sort of packaged goods company in the world, and really well known for being a marketing powerhouse. They have what's called the Procter School, the university, and very metrics driven. Like you would see everything would be your ROI. When I went and interviewed at Nike, I was talking to the marketing director, and she says, "Oh, have you got any questions for me?" And my first question, being a good MBA and being someone who worked with Procter, was, "Oh well, so how do you measure the success of a campaign?" Expecting you to talk about share of voice, return on investment, market penetration, sales, and she just looked at me with a huge smile, and she went, with a hand on her heart, just hitting her heart, went, "You can feel it here." It was amazing. Nike was a very different company. First of all, it was a wholesale company, so we didn't have retail sales up until e-commerce. It's changing very quickly. E-commerce has changed that, but before that, we didn't have retail sales. My first 3 years there, I did not know the success of a campaign based on sales. I just had no idea. So with Nike, we learned it was very much putting campaigns out there and seeing how they react. And I think that's especially in the digital age, it's increasingly relevant. The whole talk of minimum viable product and all the rest. But it's true. You don't know how your customer is going to react until you put it up there. It's always a leap of faith, but rather than spending a year building a huge strategy, take your minimum viable product, take something small, and just see how a small amount of people react to it. Then you can keep iterating over the top of it. I know it's all very cliched now to talk about iteration, MVP, and all of that, but especially in a market like China, that's how most of it works. So one of the things I learned at Baozun was the Chinese so Baozun, working in this Chinese company, I was the only foreigner there, was literally watching them every day go and do something, go and do something, go and do something. I worked with the CEO of Baozun then, Michael Zhang, who's this guy who's incredible. To me, he's a typical Chinese entrepreneur. You meet him, you wouldn't expect anything. He's in his tracksuit pants, his flip-flops, very low-key, lovely guy. Set up and been CEO for 2 publicly listed companies, so incredibly successful. But just someone who is just this permanent thing of you just need to keep moving. Just keep doing something. Like we would talk about, here is our strategic plan, this is what we're going to do. He's like going, well, what customer have you signed today? What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do? And it's just a question of keep moving. And that, more than anything, is China, is just this continuous, knowing that you're going to take small steps, they might fail, you take the steps backwards, you take small steps in another way, and you just keep moving. And that's really the power of it. I go back to, very often everyone says, oh, but that's not very efficient. We need to do we need to be marketing efficiently and maximizing what we're doing. And it's like, it may not be very efficient, but it works, because you can throw those resources at it. So it's a very different kind of mindset. Almost don't try and plan too much. Sort of know these big overarching strategies, but just keep moving day to day is one of the most important things.